This is Chatterbinge
with Kalegi and Caryn Richman.
At first you thought it was a chance at love, true love, a love that endures. But it turned out to be a one-night horror show that sent you to Amazon with the keywords monastic celibacy. It is the worst date you ever had. Caryn Shelby Richman, dare I ask, is there one that you can recall?
Well, first of all, monastic celibacy. That's a beautiful array of language right there.
Thank you.
I don't think there's anything that would put me into that state, to be honest. Yeah, you're proud of yourself,
Yes,
aren't you?
I am, yes.
Oh my gosh. First of all, this topic, I really think because you have been married for so long, and because I am that person that, although I have been in very long-term relationships, very committed relationships, I have chosen never to be married. And I had so many more years of dating in between than you, Kalegi, have ever had. So this is a great topic for me. And I have to tell you, it's not just like the worst date, like it's choosing from an array of worst dates for me. So let me get started, shall I?
Yes.
Here we go. Two things come to mind. One was a date with a gentleman, and once we were sitting in the restaurant, he literally did not stop talking about himself for 2 hours, did not ask me one single question, could not care. And it just felt, by the end of it, I was so angry because it just felt like such a waste of time. And he was so clear that he was much more intent on being front and center. Now, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Are they nervous? I know sometimes when I'm nervous, I'm not really thinking straight. So maybe I'm not really doing an equal exchange. I got that. But this was a guy that was really so full of himself and so overly impressed with himself that for me, by the end of that meal, I just wanted to get the heck out of there. I was really, it was just such a waste of my time. Have you ever had a situation, I guess we can extend it further than just dating, but where you're with somebody and whether, again, it's insecurity that they continue to talk in your face as if it is your job to sit there and listen? And if so, how did you handle it? Because I just sat there like a fool and just took it and just, chalked it up to that's 2 hours of my life that I will never get back. How did you handle it if that happened to you?
Well, what I did was I did extract myself from a situation, and I didn't think I would be extracting myself because I had known this person. And then this was back in college because I've been married for 32 years almost. And so my dating history and these stories come from way back when. So way back when in college, there was this girl that I knew, and we had signed up to go to this rally for women's rights in Washington, D.C. And we both kind of knew that it was a pseudo date. And so that morning we're standing in front of the student center, all set to go to D.C. The bus never shows up, so we're not going to the rally. So we're still kind of like, well, we promised to spend the day together. What should we do? We end up going to the mall. Once we got to the mall, we walked over to a clown who was performing, and there were several small kids watching this performance. And all of a sudden, this girl goes up and starts not only like talking like right in the face of these kids, but starts picking them up and kind of jostling them in the air. And their parents got a little upset. And it was just a little weird because we're kind of venturing into misdemeanor territory here. You're not really supposed to touch kids. I'm a parent. I remember when my son was small, I wouldn't want a strange girl touching them. She started singing with them. It was really, really strange. We then decided to go get some ice cream. And we each got an ice cream cone. She held the cone in her left hand, and instead of licking the ice cream, she took her right hand and started to grab globs of the ice cream off the cone and then feeding it to herself with her bare hand. This is not how I was taught to eat an ice cream cone. I'm thinking, what do I do? What do I do? All of a sudden, I remembered that I had tickets to the Mets game that night, which I didn't. I just needed an excuse. So I said, I thought we'd be back from D.C. early. I'm going to the game. where can I drop you off? Well, she told me I could drop her off at her cousin's house a couple of towns away, and I must have driven 85 miles an hour through local streets to get there, and that was the end of it. And did I go to the Met game? No. I actually went home. I put on Channel 9. It was a Saturday. I ended up watching the New Gidget at 7 and the Mets and Phillies at 7:30, and all was well, and I was glad I pulled myself out of the situation. So there.
The New Gidget. Are you just saying that?
Actually, maybe not that night, but quite honestly, I would watch the New Gidget very often because where it was scheduled in New York on the Channel 9 schedule was it was on Saturday nights right before the Mets game would start. So as I'm getting ready to watch the ball game at 7:30, I'm watching Gidget, Moondoggy, LaRue, Dad, the whole crew at 7 o'clock. So to me, it was the pregame show. So that part of it is very, very true.
Is both the most wonderful and disturbing thing I've ever. Thank you for watching the New Gidget. I can see that being a great segue into the Mets game. No, not really. I don't see the connection at all.
And little did I know way back when, where life takes us, you never know.
Isn't that the truth? For our listeners, I was on a TV show back in the 80s called The New Gidget, a remake of the Sally Field Gidget show. And I was in a bikini for 2 years of my life, which was really very disturbing as a woman.
Okay.
I mean, the camera puts weight on you to begin with, and then we have a whole discussion about body image and insecurity, and we don't need this segment to be about that.
Wow.
So here, I'm bringing this back to the worst dates because I've had a number of them. I will say this, in general, my dating experience has always been quite positive, whether it was a love connection or not. But I do have a funny story to tell. And to this day, it makes me laugh. And it is a dating nightmare. I'm laughing already. So I was on a date. And it was very important to me. I was literally besought. Is that the word, besought?
It is now.
That word?
Besought?
I have to look it up. I know I do this often on here, but sometimes I have trouble finding words.
How do you spell besought?
B-E-S-O-T? I need to find out if this is a word.
Besought is a verb meaning to infatuate, stupefy, or make someone dull and foolish, often by obsession or intoxication. Look at you, Caryn Richman. You are a wordsmith.
That's a callback to another show.
Yes.
Kalegi. No, I've already established that sometimes I can't find the words, so I'm very happy that I did find that one. That came out of the recesses of my mind. Nonetheless, I'm sitting in this beautiful restaurant. I spent so much time trying to look my very best, very uptight, wanting this human being to like me. At some point, I need to use the restroom. I get up, keep in mind again, very fancy, busy restaurant. I go to the restroom. I put my little toilet seat protector down and I sit down on the toilet seat.
Yes.
This is more information than you need to know. And the door swings open and it is my date. And somehow I did not lock the bathroom door. This was the man that I was trying to impress. He decided, obviously, that he needed to use the restroom. Because I had not locked the door, he opened the door, and there I am sitting on the toilet. The man I was hoping to impress. This was the most humiliating moment. And I suppose if I can say that that was the most humiliating moment of my life, I'm doing quite well. But that story has stayed with me for my entire life since. And he was very kind and we laughed about it and we did go out again.
Wait a minute. Wait, this is a fine dining type of restaurant that you were in?
Yes.
Okay. There was no men's room and women's room. I mean, this is no tamale stand on Sepulveda. I mean, this was some fancy eatery. They didn't have different restrooms because the first thing I'm thinking, why is he in the women's room? You wanted to impress this guy. Well, you know what? When that door swung open, maybe he was quite impressed. I don't know.
No, it's humiliating. Come on. No one wants to think of your first date. You don't want to think of that person sitting on a toilet, for God's sakes.
No.
It was a restaurant, and these, I think this was sort of the beginning of having non-gender specific restrooms. And it was a busy, crowded restaurant. I remember it was in Venice, California. I remember the restaurant. And it just was the most humiliating moment of my life. So that I'm going to put in the category of, it wasn't a bad date, but it certainly was a humiliating moment. So there you go. So
I am never going to use a public restroom ever again without thinking of you sitting on the toilet. And I do give you credit because you did use the protector, the little wax paper, and you were sitting there. Can you imagine if you were trying to do that hover thing and then
Which
the
I
door?
do.
See, that would have been worse. But no, demure Caryn Richman sitting there just doing what she needs to do. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But wow, I had no idea when I came up with this idea last night for a segment, it would end up with you on the toilet. I'm Ed Kalegi.
what an ending. Literally. And I'm Caryn Richman. And this is Chatterbinge.
Don't try this at home. Ed and Caryn are professionally trained communicators.
This is Chatterbinge.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can always catch our best guest conversations and segments right here on the YouTube home of Chatterbinge.